we create a platform for those that we regard as trailblazers, like people that are impacting their society positively, people that have a story to tell, people that have defeated all the odds that could have stopped them from being who they are today. And that is a theme of the program. So you are here primarily because amidst all you've been through in life, you are now being celebrated because of your positive contributions towards societal growth. And for that simple recognition, the only way those in the younger generation can be inspired is when they hear your story. So welcome once more. It's the program is gonna last for 1 hour. And trust me, we want to be fully inspired from the start to the end. And when we eventually end the program, we want to go back home with so much inspiration from you. So, as we start, who is Honorable Tawa Conteh? We don't want to know. We don't want to know the current Tawa. We want to know the Tawa that prepared you to the current Tawa that your generation is celebrating. So go on and tell us about yourself.
Okay, don't ask, but I will find words to define and to describe who Honorable Ibrahim Tawa is. Like you said, it's not the Tawa that is in parliament now, but it's the Tawa that have gone through all the crucibles, that have jumped all the hurdles, that have surpassed all the barriers, that has defeated all the myths set aside by society, because we are living in a society wherein people are getting to this point are people born from very high places, born with silver spoon, grown up in or attended good schools, so-called good schools, not government school in those days, the few private schools that we are around, but that was not Tawa anyway. I was born in a very small community in Casville, Lumley.
Okay.
Four, we moved to the slum area at Beechwood, Cape Town. We were the first inhabitants to start residing in that area. I grew up throughout my life living around Beechwood, Cape Town. It's a slum. It's a difficult place. It's called Cape Town because it's crab infested, and these are not the normal sea crabs that you know. They are the what the Aldonians call ostrich crab. So I grew up in that area, and growing up in that area, I taught myself so many things. You cannot go up around Cape Town, around Beechwood in that particular area without learning the following things. You must know how to fish in, that's A.
Okay.
Art of climbing tree, that's B. You must know how to do poultry, because we were very, very close to the Chinese, where the Chinese raising their poultry. At that time, there were only 2 poultry farms available in Sierra Leone or in Freetown. That is Flood as collegiate and the Chinese at Beechwood. So if you go up at Beechwood, you must learn how to poultry setup. You must learn how to rear chickens. You must learn how to cut chickens. You must learn how to clean the chickens. You must learn how to transfer from what they wear to what is sold in the market. If you go up in that area, I also learned the art of, well, funnily, you have to touch it. You have to train yourself to do it. I was partly laborer and partly going to school. So in the morning, I will wake up. I will have to find myself at the front of the Chinese gates, entertaining the traders coming to buy either the Chinese eggs or the chickens. So who are there to help those traders moving their goods from the buying point to the transportation point. So at the end of the transportation, we are paid some, and those sums are used to pay my fees. Those sums are used to buy books. Those sums are used to attend to my schooling needs, because I lost my mother at the age of 11.
Oh wow. So you started fending for yourself right from that stage, right?
I started training myself, and I grew myself up from the age of 11. I lost my mother at age 11, and I was just in primary 6 I'm just taking the NPSC examination. So I had to I had to develop myself from that point. So from that point, I learned everything with the exceptions of the following. I didn't steal, I didn't gamble, I didn't smoke, and I did not drink. But I've done everything down to doing night soil, if you understand what it is.
Oh, wait.
Down
We have to commend you right from there. Guys, did you hear that? He lost his mom at age 11, and right from that point, he has been taking care of himself. But we know the challenges that are associated with such, right? Like you raising yourself up, you're exposed to childhood pressure, adulthood pressure, the drinking, the smoking, the stealing. These are all odds that fight against you. And if you're not strong, if you don't have self-control, if you're not purposeful, there is no way you will make it. So you see, if we are now celebrating Tower, there is a reason. He started being disciplined right from age 11. Let's hear the story, Tower. This is interesting.
so from that point, um, I put myself in a position where I started building what will take me to this point. I set myself targets, and for every target I set, there's nobody to motivate me. I have to motivate myself. I have to take myself through my target. And the first target was you lost your
Wow.
mother. Though my father was alive, but my father it was compressed, or the shock of losing his wife at that point, because my mother was like it's bad work. My mother was like his key advisor. My mother was like it's everything. He was relying on my mother fully. Not as if he was not able to fend for us. He was the breadwinner of the family. My father was an auto mechanic. By the way, I was not born by a man that was educated. My father was one auto mechanic.
Okay, so this is a true case of your background does not determine your destiny. Okay.
Oh yeah. So when we lost my mother, it was like a shock right through. So nobody was like who would advise who. Everybody was trying to grapple with the fact that we have to put ourselves back on track. So I set myself targets every other period. So stage one was you have to pass the NPSC exam and you have to gain admission into the junior secondary school, which I did. By the time I had to rely on the first time that was the first time I traveled on a vehicle to town, and my second-hand crepe to go and find second-hand shirts, to go and look for the collegiate type or the collegiate shade shorts, so I can go to school the next day. So the first place I got to know in Sierra Leone or in the city is Kinjimi. So I went to Kinjimi. I had to pick up one for pass crepe. I had to look for few white shirts and I was able to secure one shot. So in the end, I prepared myself for that first journey. And after that journey, I set myself the next target. The next target was in the area where we were going up with all these odds. Nobody has ever attempted any public exam and passed.
Wow.
Oh, yes. So people took the back exams before me, but all of them failed. So the next target was you have to pass this exam, make it beyond this point. If you have a target,
Self-determination.
you have to make it beyond this point. So I took the back examination and I passed. That was target number two. And the next target was you are to go to SS1, but I was to leave colleges because at the time going to colleges, coming from Lumley, every other day I have to walk by foot from Lumley to colleges. Every other day, Lumley to colleges, Lumley to colleges. So what I will fend for myself throughout the day, either from selling mangoes or from doing my labor a job or from learning to design coffee, or from my fishing activity, I would have to use as my lunch to eat. I cannot use that to pay fare to go to school. So I have to wake up in the morning. I will go through Spur Road, through Beaches Council, come down Smart Farm, and I would find myself at the entrance of Smart Farm, the junction of Smart Farm, and I walk my way to Colgate, and I will have at least 100, 200 euros to eat for the day. So when I took the Becker examination, I had to leave Collegiate and move to services.
Oh,
I came to service,
God.
culture shock. It was a terrible situation because I have been in all boys school for 3 years. So now I'm moving to the school where it's a mixed school, boys and girls. So it's a culture shock. So I have to reintegrate myself. I have to bring myself back to a situation where I don't know people. That's the first time I've interacted with every other person. I'm sitting in a class with girls. My first day at services, SSS1, like I said, nobody has ever taken the back exam in my area and passed. So I passed, moved to another school. So now the first target to go to school is changing those uniforms from collegiate to services. And at the time, I wasn't able to raise any money to buy the uniform. So I had to rely on the used uniform that my cousin that was attending services, who had taken the Becker exam, to start my. That was the first uniform I had. So I started SSS1 and I set myself the next target. The next target was this: you have to move through this system in spite of the culture shock, in spite of all the challenges. You have to move through and take the worst examination and pass. And in my journey at services, I went there with used uniform in SSS1. By the time I got to SS2, that used uniform has worn out. So I was wearing the uniform at the back.
And those were not uniforms that were used by you. They were uniforms used by someone else, right?
Those were uniforms used by my cousin that was in JSS. Use them. I have to repeat them in SS2, so they were completely worn.
Did you hear that?
I have to regularly take them to the tailor to mend them for me, to fix them, especially at the back. And you will see the thread all over. But I was not ashamed to go to school, even with those torn uniforms, even with the leftover shoes, the leftover clothes that I would collect from my friends, from my cousins, from people around. I was not ashamed to go to school. I was still going to school with them. And even with that uniform, I was able to be qualified among the best people in SS2, and I was made school prefect at services. Coming from collegiate, I came to service at SS1, and in SS2, I was school prefect. And by the time I got to SS3, I was deputy head in school. Yes. Wow. By the time I got to SS3, and it was in SS3 that I wore my first new uniform. That was the first new uniform I ever wore in my life. SS3. New shirts, new but the shoes was old. Anyway.
Where did you get that from?
Well, at the time, my uncle, with whom I was staying, then I left Cape Town and moved back to Castries. So my uncle with whom I was staying was a taxi driver. So while I was in SS2, because he realized my situation was bad, so in the second term, he promised that if I passed to SS3, he would provide me new. So it was a target. So if you want to put on the new uniform, you must pass the exam.
Wow.
And I passed it.
Wow.
I came first that year. So I passed the exam and I got the uniform. But himself, it was not a lucrative job. It was just a taxi driver. So I appreciated it, and I was able to secure one old pair of shoes for my cousin, who is now in the Netherlands. He gave me those shoes, and I was a deputy head boy. So moving on, I had this aspiration to go to Fabe College. And I had to do that aspiration. I did not want to go. At the time, IPAM was not, it was just coming up. There was only Mr. Magai for Fabe College.
That was in 2000 and
was in 2000.
2003.
So when I took the last exams, I got requirements to go to Fabric College. And I was in Fabric College year. I'm in the second year and I met you.
No. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
I was in Fabric College in the first year. In the
Mhm.
second year, you came to join us.
Yes, that was in 2003, right? Because I went to uni in 2003. And guys, okay, let me just take it from there, right? So I got to fully like know who this tower is. When I requested for his photo to do some promo on my status. So when I looked at it and then I remember, okay, there was this person in the university. He's you will see him as somebody that plays and laugh a lot, but deep within him, there is this sense of discipline, there is this hard work, there's this sense of purpose, and everything was just he was just carrying himself with all these qualities. But yet you will be able to stand if there's time for you guys to laugh, you will laugh your head out. And if it's time for you guys to be serious, you will be hell serious or whatever you want to embark on. I, that was one thing I remembered him for in university. So when I look at his picture, I say, okay, this is that. This is the person. So honestly, I am not surprised when I got to know exactly that he's doing the kind of things that our generation is moved by, because he has always been an oriented person. He has always, I'm not saying this because he's my guest. Mm-mm. I am saying this deep within for me because right from the stage of uni that I met him, I knew he was going to be a remarkable character, trust me. And I give it to you, Honorable. I must say, I am really, really pleased by everything you're doing. And there is not a single Sierra Leonean, let's forget our political affiliation, there's not a single Sierra Leonean that will be blinded by your actions, because you're inspiring us in so many ways, especially for those that want to go into politics. You are a blessing to our generation. Let's continue. Guys, there is a message of hope in this story. Don't go away. Please sit back and let's continue to inspire ourselves. The ball is in your court, Honorable.
Okay, at Fabric College, considering the environment, it was intensely political. It was highly charged. It was segregational. You have to pick your friends. You have to know your standards. You have to know your levels. You know who to mix with, who not to mix with. You have to maintain a particular level of life for you not to miss that aspiration you have. So when I got to Fabric College, luckily for me, I had something that the college needed. That was my footballing prowess, because I was a footballer. I go up, play football, I was a goalkeeper. So at the time, Bible Hall did not have a goalkeeper. So they needed Tawa to go to Bible Hall. And coincidentally, the all working at Bible Hall then, Mr. Kenneth Osho, married my aunt. So it was easy for me to go to Bible Hall. When I go to Bible Hall, I was able to secure a home. That was the first blessing I had at Fabi College.
Okay.
Because I was a footballer and I can still play. I was still young. I was very young when I got to college. So I was very active in football. So Bible Hall needed me. So myself, Samuel Randall, and few others, Kelly, that were very active in sports, were caught up by people like Kasiaji and others, and we were moved to Bible. So we got to Bible Hall, and I was given a home. And I was given a home in Siberia. And if you know, those who know Fabi College know Siberia. Siberia has only 4 rooms. And those 4 rooms are the coldest in the entire college. Very cold. It is always warm. The place is I have to manage it. For Abbey College, because I cannot go to cafe regularly, I don't have the funds to go to cafe regularly. So I have to devise a strategy, and the strategy is simple. Come downtown, you have to do your normal carpentry activity. I was training to, but it was not a career training anyway. I was training to design company, but it was not a career training. But I needed something to to finance myself throughout the university period. When I come down, I would go to my boss, I would do my planing, I would do my ripping, I would do the designs I am given to do, I would do sandpaper, I would do everything for the coffee. And before going to college, I will have my small little pocket money. And from that, I go to the market. It's simple. I go buy fish, buy palm oil, buy all the necessary things that I need to prepare
Ingredients
food.
that are needed.
Oh yeah. And I'll find two jerry cans. And those jerry cans, then boom, I was very active. I will stop at how is this called? At Circular Road. I've forgotten the name of the street. I will stop there and I will fill those jerry cans with water and I will take my transport as model to Fabe College, keep my water so I can do my Piman collection, then to Piman collection. Piman, I cannot afford the Piman collection. So what I will do is bring two jerry cans of water and I will have all my ingredients. Because it is Siberia, it has a natural refrigeration. So I will keep them. They
Yeah,
will be
because it's naturally cold.
really cool. So I will cook. I cook myself. For
Okay.
all my 5 years of Sabi College, I prepare my food. So I will cook and every 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 food preparation lasts for 2 days. So between Mondays to Fridays, I will prepare at least two sauce. So on Monday, save on Monday, I will prepare my potato leaves. I will eat it on Monday, I eat it Tuesday morning, and I eat it Tuesday afternoon. And on Wednesday, I will prepare either cassava leaf or tola or something. And I will eat it on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. On Friday, I'm on my way back down. So that is how I lived through my journey at Fabe College. And like you said, I was very jovial. I would smile, but there was pain beneath that smile.
No.
There was a lot of pain beneath that smile. Anyway, I wanted to interact, but I have to be mindful of the level of
The level
interaction
of
I put.
interaction.
I have to be
I know.
I have to choose the things I do carefully. That is why throughout my journey at Fabe College, I did not engage or involve in any club
Well,
activity
but
because I
I know.
the financial challenges at all. So I never got
That's the
back to
highest level of social interaction. And
I
yeah, it
never
comes with its own uh, uh, side effect as well, though there are a whole lot of positive effects. But yeah, considering your story and you wanted to become exactly who God have destined you to be, that was a very fine escape route, though. So, guys, I hope you're following up. It's the past 26 minutes have been amazing. It's been really amazing. And I think Honorable's line is having network challenges. But guys, just look at it. It's it's a whole bunch of inspiration. A whole bunch of inspiration. A whole bunch of inspiration from all what he has been saying for the past 26 minutes. I'm sure you've gathered a whole lot from it. And the beauty of sharing stories is the message of hope that we get from that story. And that hope in Honorable Tawa Conteh's story is so clear. From every point of his explanation, you can see the hope, you can see the inspiration, you can see the determination. And And we're also getting to the next stage, because we're getting to the second stage now, where he's going to tell us the strategies that he employed in order to be the person that he is today. And at what point did he discover his calling? Like, okay, I'm cut out to be a politician. I'm cut out to be somebody that is different. I'm cut out to be an inspiration. My desire should be a better civilian. At what point in life did you discover that? But before that, I mean, let's continue, Honorable. I can't hear you.
Sorry.
I
So
can
for
hear
me,
you.
that was the first point. I realized I have a potential I don't have an idea of. I don't know what actually is in me or what I was made of, what stuff.
Before that, Honorable, sir, let's look at the strategies that you employ in order to become the personality that you are today. Because with all what you've been through, it's it has to do with a sense of purpose. It has to do with determination. It has to do with a sense of responsibility, which started at the age of 11. So let's look at what you did differently in order to separate you from the rest of your peers.
I think the things I did differently was one, and those things have guided me and they will continue to guide me. It's not to follow the bandwagon. Had I followed my peers at the time when I was growing up at Cape Town, to date, none of my peers that I grew up with the exception of my eldest cousin that is in the Netherlands, none of the peers that I grew up with managed to grace even a college, talk less of a university.
Wow.
So I realized the first strategy is don't follow the bandwagon. Second strategy is whatever you do, there will be challenges, there will be difficulties. It will not go as planned, but you have to stick to your purpose. The third thing is consistency. I did not waver even when it was tough. I did not lost my aspiration. I did not lost my ambition of getting to the university. Honestly, that was the ultimate ambition I had at the time. So for me, these three things, they've guided me and they are still guiding me because in the
I think Honorable Tawa Conteh is having okay, we have him back.
time,
Yeah, so let's just go over the three things again for the benefit of those that are watching. The three things that you said served as the main ingredients that molded you into the man that you are today. What are they?
the first is not to follow the bandwagon.
Okay.
I said the where I grew up at Cape Town,
Uh-huh.
all of the exception of my eldest brother that is my eldest cousin that is in the Netherlands, none of them have managed at any point to grace the university. And I followed the pattern that okay, when we raise whatever we use for my activity, I should go and do this. I want to go and attend TBS. Then it was TBS. I want to go and attend Cornwalls. Honestly, I would not have been the tower that I am today. The second thing is consistency. You must be consistent in whatever you do.
Okay.
Challenges will come, difficulties will come. You have to be consistent. The third is you have to stay focused. Whatever it is, if you are not focused, if you don't get your act right, you will be lost, even with your aspiration, even with all your good ambition, even with all your belief. You have to be focused. So those three things, they've guided me throughout, and they are still guiding me. Because in the current trend, had I, if I have to join the bandwagon and follow the wind, that okay, it is politics. I know it is politics. It is normal. Whatever we do, whatever we say, politicians are deemed liars. So you either fit the billing or you don't join us. So if I want to follow the bandwagon, I'm sure we will not have any light at the end of the tunnel. There will be no hope. There's nobody to look up to, especially for young people. So for me, those three things they've guided me through to this point.
Okay, so for the purpose of emphasis, guys, the three things are self-control, like having a mind of your own. He spoke about consistency, and he talked about focus mindedness. So, you know, if you want to do things differently, especially if you find yourself in his situation that he was, these three things should be your guide. Those are the three things you need to employ. I mean, you sleep and wake up with them. Challenges may come. Let's don't even joke about it. At every phase of our lives, challenges are bound to occur. And if you're young, growing up, we all know the core challenges mostly is peer pressure. Like we'll be tempted to go the wrong path, to do the wrong things, to follow our friends, to drink, to smoke, to go to club. And those are not bad things because there are a lot of people who practice them and they are excelling today. But what we need to understand is the individual differences. We are all different. Some people can manipulate their way through, others can't. Even with marijuana also, some people can smoke it and remain healthy. People
Yeah.
smoke it. A lot of young people in universities smoke it, and that is their point of meditation. That is their point of reasoning. They go for their exams, they sit, they pass and excel in all spheres of life. Others take it, they run mad. That is to tell you that we are all different. So you look at the things that match up with your body components. You look at the things that works well with you. You look at your nature, and then you can able to determine what is good for you and what is bad. And if that is the case, do the things that align with your sense of purpose. Basically, that is what Honorable is saying. And yes, I mean, there's a message of hope. And that hope, I'm sure you've been able to get it from his story. He's not yet done. He's not yet done.
So for me, those three things they've guided me through, like I said. But most of all, what I did not lose sight of at all, and I will never take my eyes, my heart, my body, my mind from, is the fact that I have never lost sight of where I'm coming from. I always remind myself that I have grown up through a very difficult path, and there are thousands of kids that are going through similar path. There are thousands of Sierra Leonean children living in slum areas. They have not seen themselves as coming up to challenge for the highest position in the land, or challenging for any position at all. I think from what has transpired, from what is in Tawa today, came from a slum to this point, it gives hope to everybody. And for me, I don't want to lose sight of that, because if I take my heart, my eyes off that, I would be carried away and I would be tempted to follow the bandwagon. So for every other person, it is no sin to be poor. It is not a crime. It is not a crime. It's not a crime. But it is sinful for you to be poor
Remain
and
poor.
not purpose.
Yeah. Let
But
me help you to buttress. It is not a crime to come from a poor background, but it is your
yeah,
responsibility to change that narrative. It's sinful to
yeah,
remain poor.
it's sinful. You must have a sense of purpose, and that sense of purpose, whenever you move a notch up, you should always be reminded that it is the same tower that came from the slum of Cape Town. It is the same tower that was living in Cape Town serving as laborer.
And that
It is
comes
the
with
same,
a sense of humility, right?
yeah, because
Meaning,
those things keep you within the cycle.
Meaning, if your background does not humble you, nothing else will.
No, nothing else. Nothing else.
Okay.
Nothing else. Absolutely.
Okay. So now let's, because we have about how many minutes? 22 minutes, and we still have a couple of questions for you to answer. So let's look at the points in life in which you were able to discover that this is your calling, that this particular career path aligns with your passion. At what point did you discover that?
Like I was saying earlier, even at Fabi College, I never knew I had something that people needed. I never knew that there is something in me that can add value to the Fabi College society. So it was at Fabi College that I was forced and picked to contest as a student representative council member, and I won, interestingly. But
Yeah.
even at SIC, it was like a joke for me. We go there, we discuss few things about the college, and that's it. We have our speaker. Now I think it's Ibrahim, he's now a lawyer Ibrahim Sohi was our speaker then. So at Fabi College, I was a member of the Students Representative Council. At Fabi College, I was actively participating in the SLPP politics, in the SLPP activity, go for public lecture when we have politicians come up to college to deliver their public lectures, go to public lecture when we have our SLPP people come in there to talk to us. So I was not seeing myself as an active top player, but I was seeing myself as a middle ground player that can join in and make a difference. But when I graduated from the university, firstly, after graduation, I taught for 9 months. I went back to services and I taught for 9 months without pay. I was only included in the government voucher 3 months to me leaving the teaching service. And it was my activity at Fuabe College, my humility at Fuabe College, my being jovial at Fuabe College, my friendliness at Fuabe College. It was that activity that got me a job. Because it was Janice, an islander, that took me by the hand. She's
Oh,
like a sister. It was,
wow.
it was Janice, an islander, that took me by the hand and brought me to Skybank in the interview at Skybank.
Oh, that's so sweet
She
of
was
her.
employed. Yeah, it was like she was employed a week, and she was asked, "Do you have anybody that you want to bring into the employ that you think is good?" So yes, I have a friend. I will tell him to come. And she called me. And by the way, let me mention it. It was my first mobile phone was given to me by Janessa as well.
Oh my God, Janisa, thank you very much.
First mobile-
Just in case you come across this this episode, I want you to know that I salute you. Those are the kind of acts that we are looking. Honestly, we need people that will look out for us. We need people that will know our strength and help build us. So thank you, Janisa. My respect for you has grown exponentially. Thank you very much.
So it was Janessa that gave me by the hand to Skybank. It was Janissa that gave me my first mobile phone. I cannot remember. It's 8210. Yes, Nokia 8210. I remember the exact. So it was Janissa that gave me that first mobile phone. And even when I got through the interview, it was Janissa who pushed her husband now, then her fiancé then, Jalil, to buy me tie, to buy me some nice shirts and all to start the bank training.
Oh, wow,
So I
Janita, you don't know what it means for Tawa to, oh my God, to mention all of these in a forum like this, in which thousands of people are going to watch this video. Tawa, you've just exposed Janita because there are a lot of people that will go after her because of her kindness. You need to help a whole lot of others. Thank you, Janita. I'm proud of you, I swear.
so when I joined the bank, I was in the bank and I was very active in politics as well. So in 2012, when we lost the election, I aspired for the symbol in constituency 112 then, Lumley. But I lost the symbol, and at the same time, I left my job at Skybank. So after the election in 2012,
Uh-huh.
I Sorry, are you getting me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
I'm with
Okay.
you.
2012 aspired for the symbol to contest as a member of parliament, but I did not get it. But I did not lose hope.
Mhm.
As consistent as I used to be, I know when you rise and fall, you have to get up and move again. So I lost the symbol, I lost my job, but I came back into the banking sector in 2012 in December. I joined EcoBank. And while I was in EcoBank, I was still going around keeping a new strategy to get myself back into the political realm. Because I knew at that time that my background can help shape things in society, that I can use my suffering, my knowledge as a sufferer, my knowledge in suffering to transform life. So I came back in 2018, aspired for the symbol, and I got it, and I won the election. And here am I today, member of
Yeah,
parliament.
and everywhere, tower, 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 tower. So, okay, let's look at the things you're doing currently that are putting you to the top. Like everybody shouting tower, tower, tower. What do you think you're doing differently that others are not doing? Let's say
Uh,
all my honorable members. Let's be specific here. What are you doing differently?
I think what I'm doing differently that other colleagues in parliament are not doing is to believe in Sierra Leone. I believe in Sierra Leone. And in believing in Sierra Leone, you'll be a member of a political party, as I am. I am a member, die-hearted of the Sierra Leone People's Party, and we are in governance. But I believe in Sierra Leone to the point that what is right, I state right. What is not right, I say it's not right. Even if it means I'm going to stand alone, nobody will be there with me. If it is not right, I will fight it through, I will push my way through and say it is not right. Even if it means I would have to climb the treetop to shout alone that this is not right, I will do it. So that is one. Secondly, is is to believe that what is written, what is designed, and what is stated in both the Constitution and other acts that Parliament have passed before us, and that this Parliament has passed or is still passing, we have to treat them as if they are the guiding principles of our lives. We have to believe in them. So I have believed in the law. I have believed in following process and procedure. So if anybody wants to breach the process, whether that person is in the SLPP, whether that person is in the APC, I will say it as it is. For example, there was a time when a bill was brought to Parliament, a finance bill, that was asking for unaccountable interest for the office of the president. In Parliament, there is a culture, and whatever that is tagged to the presidency, nobody debates it. It is passed, and everybody agrees. And I said, no, it's not right. I am member of the SLPP, and I know what our manifesto says. Our manifesto speak to the issue of accountability. And if we are saying we are going to include in this bill an unaccountable, the word is unaccountable interest, then it means from the beginning we are defeating our manifesto commitments. So even if everybody in the party in this parliament, including the opposition, is going to support this particular clause, I will go against it. And I went against it. I shouted in parliament. My voice could not drown the voices of the others, because in parliament is collection of voices, and whatever decision is taken by parliament is a decision of parliament, whether you disagree or not. So because I know I could not win that particular discourse in parliament, I took it to the next level, bring it out to the public, let the public got involved in the discussion, and in the end, good reason and provident leadership, the president, when that bill was taken to him, he did not sign it, sent it back to parliament, and that particular clause was removed. So for me, these are the things that I'm doing differently in parliament. Outside parliament, in my constituency, like I've stated earlier, is the fact that I am always reminded of my background. So I see myself as a priest. It is fortune. I have to be very honest. It is fortune for me to have come from that far to this point. So I know fortune has graced my door. So I don't take that fortune
Okay.
and run away.
Yeah.
I see that fortune as something, as a package that I should share between and among society. And I see one of the most important components of that fortune as education. Hence, the first thing I did as a member of parliament is to construct a 15 classroom multi-story school building in the most impoverished community in my constituency. That's number 9
Apparently,
community.
that was gonna be my next question. Like, considering what you've been through, you breaking the barrier of selling through all the exams that kids in your zone couldn't sail through. So now, what have you done to ensure that kids get embraced with educational reality? And you just mentioned it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That was the first project. I built a multi-story school, 15 classroom, fully equipped, fully furnished. Every class of that 15 classroom has at least 35 chairs and tables, individual chairs and tables
Wow,
equipped in those.
that is remarkable.
And the second thing I did, the second project I undertook was to transform the face of Services Secondary School. I built a school hall for Services Secondary School with a pavilion. That's a complete transformation of service. And I renovated all the buildings in that school. Every building that I was moving to a point of almost inhabitable.
Mhm.
I So that's another thing that I've done. And for community like Juba, because I attended services, I know for sure, and I've been part of it. I have experienced it. That toilet facility at Juba was a challenge. So I built 16 toilet facility at Juba. I have
Wow.
just concluded the construction of another 16 toilet facilities at a community, well, an area, but it's an area community per se, because it's
Wow.
an area.
What a
That's an area.
legacy.
That's an area. It's called Kolia Compound. That's an area that has a minimum threshold of about 400 people. They have been living in that place for almost 2 decades. They don't have toilets. I've just
Wow.
constructed 16 facilities in that area. I have just completed the construction of a 21-meter bridge at a community called Jack Kingdom, linking Jack Kingdom. They were part of the communities affected by the mudslide.
You
They were
are
completely cut off.
doing a great job, honestly.
In the rainy season, like this, children don't have the opportunity to come to school because there is no school there. So they have to bring that water to cross over to come to school at the greater Pentagon or downstream normally. So what I've done for them this year is to put up a bridge that would ensure that our kids are safe going to school from that area. They would no longer in their life have to face the challenge of going through that water, whether it is raining, whether the rain has stopped or the tide is heavy. They will never have that experience again. And I've constructed a number of roads linking communities. But for me, the bottom line is, how can I give or put smile on the faces of the poor people? Those are the things that I'm doing differently.
So it has always been about serving humanity. And truly, it's like I resonate with your story a whole lot because I used to say this like I've seen all shades of what you just explained. I've been through it a whole lot. And yes, one day when I share my story, I'm gonna shock a lot of people. But I want all of you to share your stories first. And one thing I gathered is that for the bulk of us that have been through rough times, that have been through rejection, difficulties, hard times, challenges, and all the acts that back the successes that we are now celebrating. We are being guided by all of those things that we've been through. And with every sense of humility, all what we want to do is to serve humanity and impact the rest of mankind. So I have seen it, I've been through it, and most of the people that are impacting our generation are people with similar stories. So you see, it tells you that when you've been through difficulties, when you've been through hard times in life, you will get to know exactly what it feels like to go to bed hungry, wake up the next day with an hungry, so with an empty stomach, but you're still being reminded of the fact that I have to do this, I have to get this done, I have to go there, I have to go to school, I have to work, I have to do everything to make sure I prepare for my future. And that is all I've seen in you. Honorable, we have 6 more minutes. Now, I want you to use 5 minutes to send a message of hope, a message of inspiration to your mentees, to those in the younger generation, and to every other Sierra. Because I'm not sure you've shared this story in any other platform. So everybody sees you as an icon, everybody sees you as somebody, as a force to reckon with. Everybody sees you as a huge inspiration in our generation, but they don't know the factors that molded you to the character that you are today. So, for all of those people that want to be like you, but are going through difficult times, kindly drop a message of hope and inspiration to them in the next 5 minutes.
Thank you. Firstly, I would want to say, before giving the message of hope, and you've made mention of something very important, that someday, sometime, we will sit back and hear your own story. And I think in that story, from my end, and that point where I've interacted with that story, I knew there are few things that will not go by very easily. And the first is your staring hole in the cry of the Willy Virgin. Do you remember that? Do you
No,
remember that?
come back, come back. I didn't
Okay.
hear that.
In your story, in your own story, when you
Uh-huh.
will share your story. Uh-huh. So what I would want to, the part that I have been in that story, I think the first is I am not surprised to see you from that point, because your steering role in the cry of the unwilling virgin,
Oh,
that was exceptional. That was exceptional. That was the first time I knew that, oh, this woman is going to be somebody
thank
going
you.
to. And second,
So you remember
second,
that?
I'm sure you can remember, I'm sure you can remember the visit of, is it Somalin?
Yes.
Okay, you can remember the skit we acted with Emudu. And you can remember the termination that you led us through. Mupo me was bossing Mupo Bana. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
So the first point,
So you remember
so the
those
first point
things,
of
Honorable.
inspiring the first point of inspiring them is from among your peers. You must see people that you benchmark, and you see, oh yes, this one she has or he has a potential, and I want to see that potential in myself. Your bravery, your exceptional ability to drive us when we got to our feet theater at that point. We were given 30 minutes
Oh
to
my
play the
God,
skit.
guys, do you see compliments coming from Honorable Tawa for me? That is dancing.
We were given 30 minutes, and in the end, we came out with the best kit. So, first thing is you must see role model among your peers. But over and above that,
Thank you,
young
Honorable.
people must have a
I'm
sense of purpose.
blushing, I swear. Thank you.
Young people must always, had I not have a sense of purpose, had I not believed that someday, sometime, I would be somebody, if I had choose to kill my dream and tell myself or advise myself that it is what it is, I'm being born poor, there is no path. Honestly, there was no clear path. for me to have moved from where I came from to this place. But I kept on believing. I kept on believing. So my word or words of advice to every other young person going through challenging times, you must be steadfast. To date, I am still guided by one biblical verse. I'm a Muslim. While I was going to school, offering CRK, we were taught about Moses' journey with the people of Israel from Egypt onto the promised land. And when they got to the mountain of Massa and Meribah, the people quarreled and tested God. And when Moses returned in his anger, he went back to God. And God, in his utmost wisdom, gave Moses the best advice I have ever had. And that is the advice I always keep going with. He said, stand firm. He said, stand firm and you shall receive the salvation of the Lord. So for me, my utmost inspiration is every young person going through whatever challenges, you must stand firm. That light is at the end of the tunnel. If you fail to stand firm, you will lose your footing and you will follow the bandwagon.
Thank you very much. This is amazing. This is epic. I mean, I couldn't have asked for more. I gathered a whole lot and I was just shaking my head right through because honestly, looking at somebody who is a huge blessing out there, but yet that person's story has not been told, and all what people do is gravitate towards towards his present, towards the personality that he is today, without knowing exactly his story or what he has been through. So now that they've been opportune to hear your story, it's gonna be a whole different ball game. And please continue to be the unadulterated version of yourself. Do not change. Ferrello needs you. A lot of people need you. Our generation needs you. Like we can't even overemphasize that fact. And guys, you've heard him. The message of hope needs not to be overemphasized. It's been inspirational right from the start and to the end. I am excited because this is exactly what we need. This is exactly what we want from a guest. And this is exactly what he gave us. You had the key things he said. Is it to be decisive? Yes, to be decisive, to be consistent, and to remain focused. Those three things left in my mind. I hope you keep them as well as you go along life's journey. And you had all the barriers that he has broken. Like nothing, there's not a single challenge that he hasn't defeated in life. It's not rocket science. It has to do with a sense of responsibility, with a sense of purpose, with the strength of character. And all of those things are embedded in him. Those things can be embedded in you as well. All you need to do is to have the right mindset, and you will be exactly who you want to be. Don't forget that the sky is wide enough for millions of birds to fly without colliding. You can always tap on your strength without without being defeated by your challenges. But on the other hand, by you defeating your challenges. Thank you very much, Honorable. I am proud of you. I'm sure everybody out there that is going to watch this video will be so proud of you as well. And may you continue to enjoy preservation in life. We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.